Jamal and Darius had been best friends since the 3rd grade. They did everything together, played basketball at the park, shared their lunches at school, and spent hours battling each other in video games. But lately, things had been different. Darius had just gotten a brand new pair of Jordans for his birthday, and Jamal couldn't stop thinking about them. Jamal's mom had been struggling with money, and he knew better than to ask her for expensive shoes. She was always working late shifts, barely keeping up with bills. So, when he saw Darius' fresh white and red Jordans sitting by the door at his house, a dangerous thought crept into his mind. He won't even notice if they're gone for a little while, Jamal told himself. One afternoon, while Darius was in the kitchen grabbing snacks, Jamal made his move. He stuffed the Jordans into his backpack, zipped it up, and acted like nothing happened. "Yo, I gotta go," Jamal said quickly, grabbing his bag and heading for the door. Darius came back, confused. "What? You just got here?" "Yeah, my mom needs me to run to the store for her," Jamal lied, forcing a smile. "I'll hit you up later." 8. Darius shrugged, not thinking much of it. 8. Bet. Jamal walked out fast, his heart pounding. When he got home, he rushed to his room and pulled out the shoes. He slid them on, admiring how fresh they looked on his feet. He felt powerful, like he finally had something nice, something that made him stand out. The next day at school, he wore them proudly. "Yo, where'd you get those?" Asked Marcus, one of the older kids. Jamal smirked. "My uncle got 'em for me." Another lie. But things started going wrong fast. Darius showed up at school looking stressed. "Yo, somebody stole my Jordans," he told their friends. "They were right by the door, and now they're just gone." Jamal swallowed hard, avoiding eye contact. "For real? Man, that's messed up," Jamal said, trying to sound surprised. Darius nodded. "Yeah, man, I don't even know who would do that." Jamal felt guilty, but at the same time, he loved how people were admiring the shoes on his feet. But he wasn't prepared for what happened next. That evening, when he got home, his mom was waiting for him at the kitchen table. She had her arms crossed, her face serious. "Jamal," she said, "where did you get those shoes?" Jamal hesitated. "I told you, Ma, Uncle Greg got them for me." His mom didn't look convinced. "I called Greg. He said he didn't buy you any shoes." Jamal's heart sank. His mind raced for another excuse, but his mom's eyes were sharp, waiting. "Tell me the truth, Jamal," she said firmly. Jamal sighed, staring at the floor. I borrowed them from Darius," he mumbled. His mom shook her head. "Borrowed? Or stole?" Jamal felt his throat tighten. He knew he was caught. She stood up and pointed toward the door. "We're going to Darius' house right now, and you're giving those shoes back." The walk to Darius' house felt like the longest journey of Jamal's life. His mom knocked on the door, and when Darius' mom answered, Jamal wished he could disappear. Darius came to the door, his face twisting in confusion when he saw Jamal standing there with the Jordans in his hands. "I'm sorry, man," Jamal said quietly, holding out the shoes. "I took them." Darius' jaw clenched, but he took the shoes back without a word. Jamal's mom apologized to Darius' mom, and then she turned to Jamal. "Tell him the truth," she demanded. Jamal swallowed hard. "I was jealous, man," he admitted. "I wanted them so bad, but I didn't have the money, so I took them. I know it was wrong." Darius took a deep breath. "Yeah, it was wrong." He stared at Jamal for a moment, then shook his head. "I thought we were better than that." Jamal felt awful. He had betrayed his best friend over some shoes. "I don't even care about the shoes that much," Darius continued. "I care that you lied." Jamal looked down, ashamed. "I get it," he said. "I messed up." Darius sighed and finally nodded. "Just don't do it again, man." Jamal's mom didn't say anything on the walk home, but when they got inside, she sat him down. "I worked too hard for you to be out here stealing, Jamal," she said, shaking her head. "If you wanted something, you should have talked to me. We don't have a lot, but we got honesty, and that's worth more than any pair of sneakers." Jamal nodded. understanding now that his actions had consequences beyond just getting caught. He had lost trust, respect, and almost a friend. That night, he made a promise to himself. No more stealing, no more lying, because in the end, no pair of shoes was worth losing the people who mattered most. The days after returning the Jordans were some of the hardest for Jamal. Darius wasn't ignoring him completely, but things weren't the same. The easy jokes, the laughs, they all felt forced now. The trust was broken, and Jamal knew it was his fault. At school, he sat with Darius at lunch, but the conversation was short. Marcus and the other guys still talked to him, but he noticed Darius wasn't as quick to back him up in conversations anymore. It was like he was waiting to see if Jamal had really changed. Jamal hated that feeling. One afternoon, after school, Jamal decided to stop by Darius' house uninvited. He knocked on the door, hoping Darius would even want to talk. Darius answered, his face unreadable. "What's up?" Jamal hesitated. "I wanna make it right, man." Darius crossed his arms. "You already gave the shoes back." "I know, but that's not enough," Jamal admitted. "I messed up. I don't wanna lose my best friend over some dumb mistake." Darius didn't say anything for a moment. Then, he stepped aside. "Come in." Jamal followed him inside, and they sat in the living room. Darius leaned forward, his hands clasped. "Look, man," Darius started. "I get why you did it, but you had plenty of chances to tell me the truth. You let me think some random person stole my shoes, and you let me stress over it. That's what hurt." Jamal nodded. "I know. I was scared. Bro, I thought if I admitted it, you'd never talk to me again." Darius shook his head. "It's not about the mistake. It's about what you do after. You could have told me the truth instead of lying to my face." Jamal took a deep breath. "You're right, and I wanna fix it. I don't care how long it takes." Darius studied him for a second before nodding. "All right, but you gotta earn that back, man. Trust don't come easy." Jamal felt a mix of relief and determination. "I get it, and I will." Over the next few weeks, Jamal made sure to prove he had changed. He stopped making excuses, even when it was hard. If he forgot his homework, he admitted it instead of pretending he left it at home. If he was late, he told the truth instead of making up a story. At school, he noticed Darius watching him. Slowly, things started getting back to normal. Then, one day at lunch, Darius finally cracked a joke at Jamal's expense. "Yo, Jamal, you need me to hold your backpack, or you gonna try to walk off with mine too?" The whole table burst out laughing. Even Jamal. He knew it was Darius' way of saying, "We good now?" Jamal grinned. "Man, shut up. I learned my lesson." Darius smirked. "Yeah, you better have." And just like that, things started feeling normal again. The weight that had been sitting on Jamal's chest for weeks finally lifted. Jamal knew that fixing his friendship with Darius was only part of the lesson. He still had to prove to himself, and his mom, that he was changing for the better. One night, while he was sitting at the kitchen table doing his homework, his mom walked in. She sat across from him, watching for a moment before speaking. "You been different lately," she said. Jamal nodded. "Yeah, I'm trying." His mom took a deep breath. "I'm proud of you for owning up to what you did, but I want you to understand something, Jamal. It's not just about not stealing. It's about finding a way to get what you want the right way." Jamal nodded again, but he wasn't sure what she meant. Then, she slid a piece of paper across the table. "I talked to Miss Jackson at the community center. They're looking for kids to help out after school, setting up events, cleaning up, stuff like that. They'll even pay a little bit." Jamal's eyes widened. "A job? You mean, I can make my own money?" He asked, surprised. His mom smiled. "That's how it works, baby. You want nice things? You gotta work for them. And I know you can." Jamal felt something shift inside him. This was his chance to do things the right way. He had made a mistake, one that almost cost him his best friend. But he had learned that honesty, even when it's hard, was the only way to keep the people who really mattered. The next week, Jamal started working at the community center. At first, it was just small things: stacking chairs, wiping down tables, helping set up for events. It wasn't glamorous, but every time he got his hands dirty, he felt a little bit better about himself. One afternoon, as he was sweeping the gym, Miss Jackson came over. "You're doing a good job, Jamal," she said with a nod. "Ever think about coaching? Some of the younger kids need help with basketball drills." Jamal blinked. Coaching? He had never thought about it, but the idea excited him. "I mean, yeah, I'd like to try," he said. Before he knew it, Jamal was spending extra time helping little kids learn to dribble, shoot, and run plays. He saw himself in them. Kids who wanted to be better but just needed someone to show them how. Darius even stopped by one afternoon, watching Jamal in action. "Look at you," Darius joked. "Stealing shoes one month, coaching kids the next." Jamal laughed. "Man, shut up. I'm out here trying to be a role model now." Darius nodded. "For real, though? I respect it." That meant everything to Jamal. A few months later, after saving up his paychecks, Jamal finally had enough money. He walked into the shoe store, his heart pounding with excitement. This time, he wasn't sneaking, lying, or taking something that wasn't his. He picked out a fresh pair of Jordans, his Jordans. When he got home, he placed them neatly by the door. Then, he smiled to himself, knowing they were his, not because he stole them, but because he earned them. His mom walked by and saw them. She nodded approvingly. "Now that's how you do it," she said. Jamal grinned. "Yeah, I get it now." And for the first time in a long time, he felt proud of himself. As time went on, Jamal's reputation at school started to change. People no longer whispered about how he had stolen from Darius. Instead, they talked about how he had stepped up. Some kids even started asking him about the job at the community center, wondering if they could get involved too. One day, Coach Harris, the school's basketball coach, pulled him aside after gym class. "I've been hearing good things about you, Jamal," Coach said, crossing his arms. "Miss Jackson told me you've been coaching little kids over at the community center." Jamal shrugged. "Yeah, just helping them with the basics." Coach Harris nodded. "That's leadership. You ever think about trying out for the team?" Jamal hesitated. He loved basketball, but after everything that had happened, he wasn't sure if he deserved to be part of something like that. "I don't know, Coach," he admitted. "I don't think I'm good enough." Coach Harris raised an eyebrow. "You think those little kids would listen to you if you weren't good enough?" Jamal hadn't thought about it like that. Coach clapped him on the shoulder. "Tryouts are next week. I think you should show up." The day of tryouts, Jamal felt nervous. He wasn't the tallest or the fastest, but he had been practicing every chance he got. He knew that if he wanted something, he had to work for it, just like with the job. Just like with earning Darius' trust back. When it was his turn to run drills, he gave it everything he had. He hustled, made sharp passes, and sunk his shots with confidence. He even cheered on the other guys, encouraging them when they missed. When the final list was posted, Jamal hesitated before looking. Then, he saw his name. He made the team. That night, when Jamal got home, he saw Darius sitting on his porch, waiting for him. "I heard you made the team," Darius said with a grin. Jamal nodded. "Yeah, man, I did." Darius leaned back. "You know, a few months ago, I wouldn't have believed you deserved it." Jamal sighed. "Yeah, I get that. But now." Darius continued. "I see the work you put in. You earned it, bro." Jamal smiled. "That means a lot." Darius smirked. "Still not gonna let you beat me one-on-one, though." Jamal laughed. "Bet. We'll." The park. Jamal realized something. The best things in life weren't stolen or given, they were earned. And for the first time in a long time, he was proud of the man he was becoming.